Can a woman put her dignity at stake? Is it really possible to decide on a battlefield? Today, we'll discuss the 2021 action and thriller movie The Last Duel. There will be spoilers. Keep an eye out and be careful. The story of the film is based on a truly historic event. The film opens with two maids preparing Marguerite de Carrouges, the main character. A duel under the ancient law of the French is then performed, which is attended by King Charles VI and Pierre d'Alençon, the king's advisor. On the one hand, Jean de Carrouges is shown getting ready, while on the other hand, Jacques Le Gris is also seen getting ready for the fight. The two riders mount their horses and ride into the arena, where Marguerite is captured and held as a prisoner. Having received permission from the king, the two competitors run towards one another and attack first. Three people's points of view are represented in this film. Sir Jean de Carrouges' theory is introduced in the opening chapter of the story. In the first chapter, Jean is part of a fight. He stands by the river, waiting to kill his foes. For this, they have to cross the river to go to their next location. Even if the monarch would not have commanded the river to be crossed, he was prepared to engage the enemies on the other side. A soldier named Jacques is saved by Jean while the conflict rages at the crest of the river. They both battle courageously after Jean rescues Jacques. At the conclusion of the fight, Jacques goes ahead and thanks Sir Jean for saving his life. In the next scene, they go to Fort Ballet, where Pierre is in charge. Jean's father is the fort's captain and also works for the Pierre. Jean arrives with Jacques, and the two have a meeting with Jean's parents. This fort is inhabited by other people as well. After meeting Pierre, Jean and Jacques vow to work for them for the rest of their lives as well. Shortly after this encounter, Jacques runs into Jean again and informs him that he is now working for Pierre and that his job is to collect money from different people. Hearing this, Jean concludes that he's coming to rob people. According to Jean, his firm has been losing money and he does not have the funds to cover the costs. Jacques agrees to cover all of the costs. As soon as he hears this, Jean declares him a loyal friend. Jacques warns Jean not to go to the battle since he has already lost his first wife and kid, but Jean insists on ongoing. As Jacques says, Jean will become captain after his father, so he shouldn't put his life on the line for the sake of his career. While this battle is very important to Jean, it is also significant to him because he needs money. The battle is quite bloody, but in the end, Jean comes out on top. He travels to Cleopatra, a state where he is well cared for. Jean goes to the party that night. When it comes to that country's ruler, Jacques praises the kindness of the monarch. Marguerite, in the meantime, arrives with her father, the monarch of the land. Everyone was raving about Marguerite's attractiveness, even Jean liked her too. The king compliments Jean since he had heard of Jean's courage from others. Marguerite's marriage is now under discussion. The king has no problem with Jean's request for a place in the dowry. After that, they tie the knot. Marguerite's beauty takes Jean's breath away. Later, Jean and Jacques arrive at a location on horseback. Jacques takes him to a spot and declares that it has brought him joy. Because he was promised a dowry, Jean is outraged to see this. In the next scene, Marguerite is informed by Jean that the dowry spot promised to her has been given to Pierre. Jean says that he introduced Pierre and Jacques in the first place, and that he is now the one who is contradicting himself. Jean protests to the king's man, but he has proof that the land is legally Jacques'. When Jean hears of his father's death, he is riding home from his family's house. He goes back to see his mom. Despite her obvious sadness, Jean's mother breaks the news to him that her father has passed away. She also informs him that he will no longer be captain since it was a choice made by Pierre. When Jean learns this, he rushes to meet Pierre, but when he arrives, Pierre has already appointed Jacques as captain. In front of them, Jean asserts his claim to the position of captain. Then he informs Marguerite that being a captain was in his family's heritage and that it was his time to be captain, but Jacques was elected instead. Jean determines that he will no longer follow Pierre. A year later, Jacques has a kid, and Marguerite informs Jean about it. They are both invited to a celebration. "Forget about the past," says Marguerite to Jean. Marguerite is thrilled when Jean complies. Marguerite kisses Jacques when Jean obeys her, and they are both happy. A few days later, Jean leaves Marguerite for a fight and vows to return shortly. Due to his courage, Jean is victorious in this war. When Jean returns home, he meets his mother and wife, but he becomes unwell and announces at dinner that he must leave immediately for Paris in order to retrieve the money. Gold coins are given to Jean in Paris as a prize for his courage. It's no surprise that Marguerite is distraught and heartbroken when Jean gets back home. Marguerite's eyes flood with tears as he wonders why. Jean comes to Marguerite at night and requests intimacy, but she refuses and explains that after he left, his mother was not at home one day and she was alone. That day, Jacques came home, and he raped her. Jean apologizes to Marguerite for not being there when she needed him most. Marguerite wants Jacques to suffer for his crimes. Jean informs his followers that he has a strategy in mind. He tells the king the whole thing and says that is why he wants to fight Jacques so that the truth will come out. He says he trusts God with everything. The king's man warns him that Marguerite will be slain if he is proved to be a liar. The king then visits the court. Jean introduces himself and then accuses Jacques of rape. He invites Jacques to a duel. The story continues in the second chapter, which introduces Jacques' concept. The story begins with Jean's story of how he saved Jacques. That's when Pierre informs Jacques that Jean disobeyed and engaged in a battle on the opposite side of the river. Jacques and Pierre go to a party at night where they meet a lot of attractive women. The next morning, the two talk to their wives. Jacques thinks highly of his wife. Pierre informs him that he is weakening and that the villagers of his estate aren't remitting their taxes to him. Jacques assures him that he will complete the task. Jacques now approaches Marguerite's father for assistance. Because he is penniless, when Jacques demands land in exchange for money, he says that this part is given to Jean in dowry. As a result, Jacques asks that the land be given to Pierre, and as a result, the land becomes a gift to Jacques. This land is Jean's, and Jean can do nothing about it, Jacques informs Pierre one night. After Jean's father dies, Pierre promotes Jacques to the position of captain. However, Pierre won't listen to Jean's arguments about his right to place and serve as captain. A few days later, Pierre throws a party for Jacques' kid and asks Jean to put a stop to the fighting between them. At this gathering, Jacques is praising Marguerite for her beauty. Adam tells Jacques that Marguerite is watching her and she loves him. Jacques, with the assistance of his partner Adam, deceives Marguerite into opening the door, at which point he professes his emotions to her. Because of her fear, Marguerite flees inside the house, but Jacques rushes after her and, upon seeing Marguerite enter the room, believes she is encouraging him to have sexual relations with her. Marguerite makes an unsuccessful attempt to apprehend her, and Jacques rapes her. Jacques advises him against informing Jean. Pierre and Jacques talk about this incident a few days later. Jacques comes to know that Jean has dueled with him. To prove his innocence and his willingness to fight for his life, Jacques stands before the King of France. The king warns him that he will be killed if he is found to be a liar. Now in the third chapter, the story is told by Marguerite, and this story starts after marriage. Marguerite is not happy about her physical relationship with Jean in her married life. Then there's the party scene when Jacques kisses Marguerite and she doesn't like it at all. He has a beautiful appearance, but Jean informs Marguerite that he's not trustworthy. Her desire to become a mother came to light one night when she confided in Jean. Similarly, Jean is on board. A few days later, Jean leaves for the battlefield. Meanwhile, Jean's mother tells Marguerite that she wants to be a grandmother, but because of Marguerite, she is unable to become a grandma. After the checkup, the doctor declares that Marguerite is completely well. After Jean departs for Paris, Marguerite is raped by Jacques on the same day as Jean's mother is gone. Marguerite is very sad. Upon Jean's arrival, she informs him about the uncertainty. When Marguerite is pregnant, people accuse her of doing all this on purpose. 6 months later, during Jacques' trial, a now pregnant Marguerite stays steadfast in her belief that she is speaking the truth, despite the fact that the court indicates that Jacques is the father of her child. Jean's appeal for a duel to the death is granted by King Charles VI. Marguerite approaches Jean, accusing him of failing to inform her that she would be burnt alive if he did not succeed. Marguerite gives birth to a boy only a few days before the duel is scheduled to begin. The duel starts with Jean and Jacques jousting until both men are forced to fight hand to hand after losing their horses. Jean is stabbed many times, but he ultimately manages to tie Jacques down. He insists that Jacques confess or face eternal damnation, but Jacques maintains his innocence, really thinking that he did not rape her. Jean assassinates him and disposes of his body. In the aftermath of his win, Jean luxuriates in the glory of his accomplishment, while Marguerite follows silently behind. As a result, Jacques' corpse is stripped and dragged through the streets before being hanged upside down in the open. According to a textual epilogue, Jean died while fighting in the Crusades a few years later, while Marguerite continued to manage his land, allowing her to live in peace for the next 30 years of her life and never marrying again.